In this example, I'm going to show you how to find an unknown angle using the cosine rule. First thing we do is we check that we can use the cosine rule on this triangle. We know the length of all three sides, so yes, we can. Now, our formula for finding an unknown angle using the cosine rule is cosine A equals B squared plus C squared minus A squared on 2BC. Now this is a rearranged formula or rearranged version of the cosine rule. If you're not sure where we got that from, go back and watch the last video where I explained how we found this version of the cosine rule. Now we need to label our triangle. We only have one angle in our formula and there's only one angle in our picture. So that's the one we're going to label capital A. And the opposite side is little a. Our other two sides are little b and little c. We can substitute all of these values into our formula. So we have cosine, our capital angle here is represented by little a. A little bit confusing, maybe more of an alpha than an a. So we can write that as alpha equals b squared, which was 3.1 squared, plus c squared, 4.3 squared, minus a was 5.9 squared. And that's all over the top of 2 times b, 3.1, times c, which is 4.3. So cosine of our alpha, if you put that into your calculator, you'll end up with negative 0.2517. I've rounded that off. There's a few more decimal places after there, but we need to make sure we keep this in our calculators for the moment. Now you'll notice this is a negative value of a cosine. That's because our angle is larger than 90 degrees. So our cosine is going to be negative. That's okay, because when we take the inverse, we'll end up with a positive value of an angle, because we can't have a negative angle, but this is not our final answer. So to find out what our angle alpha is, we take the cosine, or the inverse cosine, of negative 0.2517, and make sure you kept this number in your calculator, and you use the answer key to get an accurate answer. So our alpha will be the inverse cosine of that value, and that will be equal to 104.58 degrees. You can see here we ended up with a positive angle, larger than 90 degrees, which is what we would expect from looking at our picture, and also because we had a negative value of the cosine, we know our angle has to be greater than 90 degrees. So that unknown angle in our triangle is equal to 104.58 degrees.